Danish supporters have come over to watch the next rider, who will be Tobias Thorning Joergensen with his lovely mare, Jolene Hill. And he is coming in as one of, well, must be the favourite. Certainly my favourite for this competition. He's had superb results on this mare. He won double gold at Tokyo last year, double gold at the Europeans in 2019 on spectacular scores. You would be crazy to doubt this combination, and you can see why. 14-year-old mare by Blue Horseshoe for a hit, Jolene Hill. Very striking grey. And a really super expressive horse. And Tobias, a really quiet rider, really correct, sits very nicely on a horse. Makes a really, really super partnership. And a really cool head on his shoulders. Riding here in front of a home crowd. Entering the arena for Denmark, Tobias Thorning Joergensen, Jolene Hill. So this horse competed once since Tokyo internationally. He was out in Kronenberg in June and just looked on phenomenal form. Really, really and just looking at the running score at the moment, I must have missed something at the start. Couldn't quite see the halt from where I was sitting. He was starting on an average of 68. Whether that was wrong, I couldn't see anything major. It's now gone up to 78, so possibly a technical hitch. Looks more like we'd expect from this combination. Just a little bit on the forehand in that halt rainbow. This horse just so scopy in her movement and sits in such a consistent frame. Stays in a nice contact. Tobias just using that lower leg to stay active in those pirouettes. Really positioning her nicely going into them. Showing that stretch from the head and neck. Really taking the rein forward and out. Just a little bit larger than we've seen. We've seen some of the 10 on the haunches, but keeping the activity, keeping the positioning. Sometimes you have to make them a little bit bigger to keep the key qualities correct. Those calculated risks, and really nicely into the walk. Really smooth into the trot. Showing good bend on those turns. A little bit on the forehand into that walk this time. Just keeping her back on the hind legs. Tobias saying, stay up, stay in front of me. Just using his voice and a little bit of leg. Picking her up there. And it's those sort of movements that this horse really shines. It really highlights her suppleness. Tobias is really good at keeping the rhythm the same, setting her up for each movement, keeping that expression. And look at that. Just a little bit losing the balance right at the end, but super well managed. Just saw her drop on the forehand a little bit. She lost her balance at the end, but Tobias was very quick to pick her up. Again, just a little bit on the forehand in these downwards transitions, just dropping him a little bit, going into them. He's having to really quickly catch it, but doing a super job. And I mean, we're being very, very pernickety here, but looking for those 8s and 9s. That's where they fall. He's doing a very good job here, sitting on a super score that is going to go into a massive, massive lead. And it's one thing to go in as the favourite, but it's another thing to deliver it. And just that last tiny step back in the halt, but otherwise a phenomenal, phenomenal performance for Tobias and Jolene Hill. And in front of a home crowd, there's his mum, Lean, also competing at Para-Dressage at top level. But for now, it is Tobias in the spotlight. And that grin on his face says it all. He waves to the crowd, thanks his supporters. There's red flags everywhere. And a very well-deserved response for a phenomenal test he's just ridden. And you really are only as good as your last performance when it comes to these medals. But so going in, he was the favourite. He's posted some brilliant scores, but he had to live up to that expectation. And in front of a home crowd, the pressure is phenomenal. And he really did that today. Look at that medium trot. Just sits so nicely. He's in such a good position to help her. The rhythm doesn't change there. She just opens out. And you just see there at the end, bring her back. And that's what's picking up those big marks. And we will just wait for those scores to come through, but I imagine he is going to be very, very happy, and I think we will see a big change in that leaderboard now. And they're just coming through, and he has done it. A massive Judge at E, 81.176, H, 78.235, C, 78.824, M, 75.588, and Judge at B, 79.559. So a final score of 78.676 puts him into a massive first place.